Good evening. We are back to the study of the Spirit's book. We are on the last item of book 1 of the Spirit's book, which is intelligence and instinct. Okay, we mentioned by the end of last week, we went a little bit over the concept of intelligence and instinct, and as we evolve from the spiritual principle to an individual spirit, we develop in our evolutionary phases through the mineral, vegetable, and animal kingdoms. First, the aggregation and disaggregation in the mineral, the autonomic forces and the rudimentary instinct on the vegetable kingdom. We continue developing instinct on the animal phase and on the more evolved animal phases, the mammals. We start to develop rudimentary intelligence also. That's why, you can teach dogs and cats and other mammal tricks, and you cannot teach tricks to less evolved to fishes or to fish or to less evolved animals. Okay, so this is what we are going to discuss here in this next 4 or 5 questions to finish this chapter. Okay, 71.
What you have displayed is the nature of spirits.
Intelligence and instinct. That's what I have here in front of me.
What I'm seeing is nature of spirits.
Sorry, can anyone else confirm that? Paco.
Yes, it's true.
The nature of spirits, yes.
It is? Wow.
Yes.
Well, let me stop share this and see what's going on here. Now you got it, the right one?
Yes.
Yeah, it was my mistake. I shared the wrong screen.
Okay.
Nature of the spirits is something that
Another physical phenomenon.
yeah, it's not another physical phenomenon. Nature of the spirits is something that I'm preparing for the class on the mediumship course that I'm going to record next week. Okay. Question 71, intelligence and instinct.
Is intelligence an attribute of the vital principle? No. Since plants live and do not think, they only possess organic life. Intelligence and matter are independent of one another. A body may live without intelligence, but intelligence can only manifest itself through physical organs. Living matter can only be made intelligent when united with a spirit. Intelligence is a special faculty belonging only to certain classes of organic beings that gives these beings the power to think, the will to act, the consciousness of their existence and individuality, and the means of establishing relations with the external world and fulfilling their unique needs. We may therefore distinguish the following. Inanimate beings, solely matter, without life or intelligence, the bodies of the mineral world. Non-thinking living beings made up of matter and endowed with vitality, but not intelligence. Living and thinking beings made up of matter, endowed with vitality and possessing an intelligent principle that gives them the faculty of thought.
Okay, so first the question is, intelligence an attribute of the vital principle? We study vital principle. It is what animates organic bodies, right? For an organic body to be organic, it needs the vital principle or vital fluid to live. So intelligence has nothing to do with the vital principle, because as the spirits answer here, plants live and do not think, do not have intelligence. They have the first, more evolved plants have the first basic instinctive impulses to some of them, the ones that can eat insects. So that's an instinct, right? To open and close the plant to grab an insect. The autonomic functions is what makes them grow, what makes them move towards the sun if they need the sun, but they don't have any intelligence. I know that people talk to plants and think that, yes, but there is nothing wrong in talking to plants, let's be very clear, but what really is making a difference is your energy towards the plants. It's not the words, it's what your energy sends, the loving energy towards the plants is what makes them receive something, right? I know you have Paco, and we have Luisa here also that
yes,
talks to plants, I think, or I'm not sure. Yeah, she does.
I do too.
But there is nothing wrong in talking to plants. Again, it's the way we express ourselves, right? So we express ourselves, our energy goes out, sometimes through words, sometimes through thoughts, but most of all through feelings. And that's what the plants receive, our sincere feelings of love, of care, of willingness to connect with them. But they have no intelligence. That's very clear. And then Kardec goes explaining that intelligence is a special faculty belonging to only certain classes of organic beings that give these beings the power to think, the will to act, the consciousness of their existence, and individuality. So you see, if you go to animals, a cat can act on command, so he has some basic signs of intelligence. We don't have any proof that they are conscious of their existence or their individuality, but it is possible. I don't know if a cockroach can do any of those things, and I don't believe it. But anyway, Kardec continues here dividing into inanimate beings, and then the living beings into non-thinking living beings and thinking beings, all made of matter, all three of them made of matter, but the inanimate beings are rock without life or intelligence. A plant endowed with vital principle or vitality, but not intelligence. And then living and thinking beings made of a matter, endowed with vitality and possessing an intelligent principle that gives them the faculty of thought. The intelligent principle going through the animal phase gives them the faculty of, it's difficult to call thought, right? But they have brains, so they have the ability of using it. I don't know if we want to call it thought, but we can.
Specific question.
Yeah. Any questions here, comments?
So let me just intelligence as defined here is thinking, the will to act, the awareness of self, the capacity to relate to the external world, and the ability to fulfill
Their needs.
our own needs.
And if you think of animals, they have Any of
But
those.
that's what I'm saying. When an animal moves around, the animal has, does the animal have a will to act?
Yes,
It does, no?
does, yes.
Okay, but now,
It establishes relations with the external world, right? Most,
yes, because I'm a master and I have a pet.
yeah.
Okay, so is that intelligence?
I think you can call rudimentary intelligence, right? Because instinct is just a reactive action to something, to an external action, right? That's instinct. You know, if something you get scared, you jump. It's, you know, you don't think to jump, you don't use your intelligence, you jump. The animals that you can teach a dog tricks, you can teach a dog, we teach our dogs to do a lot of things. So
Yeah.
you know, maybe we need another word between intelligence in animals and intelligence in human beings, but I would call that intelligence, rudimentary intelligence, right? Because it doesn't have the ability to
create language, for example, yeah.
I was reading an article that a parrot, the scientists studying a parrot concluded that he has more or less the same abilities of a 2-year-old child in terms of thinking and making choices. So
Wow.
a 2-year-old child already has a lot of intelligence in action, right?
Yes, yes.
So again, I think that intelligence, and again, there is a vast class of animals, right? A reptile is different from an insect, that is different from a mammal. And I think we have to eventually, as science progresses, we're going to understand better these differences. But a parrot is not a mammal, and it's a bird, and it already has these signs of intelligence. It can repeat words, right? You need to have intelligence, or at least a rudimentary intelligence, to repeat words, right? Maybe we call it instinct, the repetition of words, but I think it's more than instinct and less than full intelligence. But again, it's not. I think all is a gray area, right?
Yeah, it's a gray area because of the difficulty in definitions, in defining what intelligence is.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like when you give what's intelligence in the academic or educational world, but you would say what the IQ test measures. That's the only thing we can say. You understand? That's how sometimes it's defined. But the difficulty here is that definition of intelligence. That's what you're saying, that we have to coin another word. But meantime, since we don't have that word, we're going to have to call it, like you said, rudimentary intelligence, which by the way, I think that's very good.
Yeah, and you know, as we are entering and we hear all around artificial intelligence, right? Artificial intelligence should have a different word also, right? If we call intelligence a faculty belonging only to certain classes of organic beings, artificial intelligence doesn't belong to organic beings. It's produced by us.
That's another one.
Yeah.
Yes.
So again, I think the word intelligence is a limited word, and maybe as we evolve more, we are going to come up with different words to separate it from what is intelligence in living beings, in humans, in animals. But so far, that's the word we have.
Very good. Thank you.
Intelligence is the ability or the possibility of learning. Individuals who are able of learning, they have a certain degree of intelligence, right? Would you say that the computer is intelligent? No. Would you say the computer is able to store instructions? Yes, it's very good at it. Right? So what you call the artificial intelligence, it is going to be this computer that will be able to store tremendous amount of instructions and be made to relate one instruction to another. It's not intelligence. It's a tremendous ability to restore instructions. Instinct is more related to this ability of storing instructions. So does a snake, as you use, one of the attributes of intelligence, responds to the environment? Yes. Is that intelligence? No. It's purely instinctive. It's absolutely related to its instinct. It will be put its tongue up in the air and will perceive if it's going to rain, if it's going to be a sunny day, and will act in accordance to the instructions that it has to whatever it perceives in the environment. If the being has ability to learn, there is a degree of intelligence. Okay, so parrots can learn. Some animals can only learn. A little more evolved animals, they can learn and they can teach. They can pass around information. Is a level up, the degree up. But if you have the ability of learning, there is a degree of intelligence. Okay.
So you're saying that intelligence, as you said, is basically the potential for learning.
Yes.
That's what you're saying. Okay.
Yes. But what you said is very important. There is this gray area, right? It is a very long gray area. It's a very thick gray area. And things become very difficult to say where does instinct ends and intelligence begins.
Question.
All right? It becomes extremely difficult. So I think this gray area is the most reasonable thing for us to consider. In zoology, there was, up in the past, the idea of saying which species is smarter than the other species. Is dog smarter than cats? Is elephant smarter than lions? That no longer used. You can only level, if you want to, the ability of those individuals to learn and to teach has to be inside of the species, because every species is equally intelligent, because they all survive the environment. They all are able. So if you look at that, let's say a crocodile, perhaps the most intelligent being that exists, because they are before the dinosaurs. Would you say the dinosaur is smarter than a man? No, you wouldn't, right? So you have to differentiate things now. You don't make more than that comparison. And that makes this gray area even more complex for us to deal with.
Okay.
Yes.
What is the source of intelligence? Let's go.
I want to complicate it much more.
What is the source of intelligence? We have already told you, universal intelligence. It is correct to say that every intelligent being draws intelligence from the universal source and absorbs it, as it draws and absorbs the principle of material life. This would be an inaccurate comparison. Intelligence is a faculty possessed by each distinct being, which constitutes its moral individuality. In any case, we have told you that there are things that human beings are unable to fathom. For the time being, this is one of them.
Okay, so the source of intelligence is the universal intelligence that comes from the intelligent principle, right? Which we're going to address when we start with 2. Just as a reminder, we have God, the intelligent principle or spiritual principle, or that where the spirit comes from, the spiritual principle that eventually will become a spirit, an individual spirit. And then you have the universal fluid where all matter derives from, that has no intelligence. It's only matter, or it doesn't have intelligence. Intelligence is the association of the spiritual principle with matter that produces organic beings that have intelligence, that produces the perispirit that can express the intelligence, and so on and so forth. Exists in the spiritual world and the physical world. So Kardec then asks if it's correct to say that every intelligent being draws intelligence from the universal source. And the Spirit says, no, that's inaccurate. That intelligence is a faculty possessed by each distinct being. So when you start evolving from a spiritual principle, you go to the mineral phase, you learn aggregation. You go through the vegetable phase, you learn autonomic functions, right? Your heartbeat is an autonomic function. Your lungs inhaling air and doing their functions is an autonomic function. Then through the animal phase, you learn these instincts from the very beginning to the end, which makes you react to things, as Elmo was saying. External things makes you react. And then you start developing in the human phase, in the individual spirit phase, the intelligence, develop the intelligence, you acquire the free will and start developing your free will and continuous progresses. So it is by that, this is what the Spirit say, for each distinct being constitutes its moral individuality. Each one of us have a different moral individuality. We may be very similar, but we are not equal. So my characteristics at my level of evolution can be exactly the same level of evolution as Elmo, but we have different characteristics, different knowledge, and different moral aspects, right? So each individual has its own moral individuality, and it's one individual. And then the Spirit says that in any case, we have told you there are things that human beings are unable to fathom. This is one of them, meaning what is the source of intelligence and how we derive it from universal intelligence. The spirits are basically telling us we cannot go a lot further than that at the moment with our lack of knowledge, of capacity of understanding, or even words to express how this all this works. Okay. Questions, comments? Okay.
Number 73.
Yes.
Is instinct independent of intelligence? No, not exactly, because it is a type of intelligence. Instinct is unreasoned intelligence, by which all beings satisfy their wants.
So the spirits bring us another concept here, unreasoned intelligence. That's how they define instinct. Animals, when we talk about animals, without going to the rudimentary intelligence, right? They have instincts. The instincts is what makes them to eat, want to procreate, and want to protect themselves from external risks. These are all instinctive tendencies, right? Can you call unreasoned intelligence? Well, because everything as we evolve, we are learning. You can call a precursor to intelligence, and its instinct is really a precursor to intelligence. And if we go to that very wide gray area that Elmo mentioned before, we can put that, this transition from instinct into intelligence. The question is if instinct is independent of intelligence. It is clear that it's not, because we have both instinct and intelligence, and one goes with the other, allies itself with the other in terms of how we make our choices. You know, sometimes we talk about our instincts tell us to do one thing, and our reason tells us to do other, right? And we are going to talk a little bit more about this in terms of reason and between instinct and intelligence. I'm not going to bring this now. I'll bring it to the next question. One thing that I came to my mind today. It's for question, I think, 75. Okay.
Number 74.
Yes.
Can a line be drawn between instinct and intelligence, precisely defining where one ends and the other begins? No, because they often blend together. However, the actions belonging to instinct and those belonging to intelligence are easily distinguished.
Here, they easily distinguish that the Spirit tells us. It makes us think, right? We can classify some things as instinctive and some things as intelligence, right? When we are making choices, when we are when we are reasoning, we are using our intelligence. Some of the things we have to do on our daily lives are driven by instinct, right? We get hungry. This is not an intelligent act. It's an instinctive act of our physical body that needs to be fed. Now, then the intelligence will allow us to make the choice of what we are going to eat, when we are going to eat, and how much we're going to eat. This is all done by our intelligence. But the fact that we get hungry, it's in general, it's beyond our control. Again, there are those that can control their hunger. They can go a long time without eating, but this is exceptions. We are talking about the general rule here, right? So this is what they say, that we can distinguish between instinct and intelligence, right? Some things are instinctive, that belongs to the needs of our physical body that we develop through our evolutionary path. And when we make decisions on top of these instinctive needs is when we are using intelligence. I hope that was clear. I don't know, Elmo.
Yeah, I think this answer was already answered when you said there is a large gray matter, gray area, right? That's already defined, because if it was a precise line between one and another, there would be no gray line. We already answered that. And we need to keep in mind that in the evolution, there is always that transition period between one thing and another. Okay, so if you look at the animal kingdom only, right? You have the insecta, reptilia, apes, fish, and so forth and so on, right? And there are marks, let's say. What is the word that I'm looking for here? There are things that you conquer at a certain level of evolution, right? Like when you in pediatrics, there is that when you're checking the development of the baby, you say at certain months the baby should be able to do this. What's the word? I forgot the word. At certain months, you can't say benchmark. There is a proper word. Benchmark is a good word. At certain age, 6 months, they should be able to sit. I'm guessing here, okay? At 9 months, they should be able to stand. At 10 months, should be able to take steps. Those are marks that you're conquering, right? So you can see how
Milestones.
milestones, that's not the word, yeah, forgot the word. There is a proper word for it.
Yeah.
In evolution, there is those steps. As Ron said, starting at the mineral, there is that phase where you're storing instructions, right? In aggregation and in the affinity, in the repulsion, you know, the element of hydrogen store the instruction that when it sees an available oxygen, it will group together. And by doing so, they form the molecule of water, né? 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen. And that molecule gain the instruction that when they see more molecules like them, they will group together. Affinity forms water, right? And then this complex string now store the instruction that when they see lipids, fat, they will reject it, right? They don't mix together. And this process is going with vegetable, with mineral, with animalia. Once you get into animalia, get at one point that you develop the pineal gland. It started a fish. So one would perhaps, this is my personal interpretation, okay? Don't write anywhere, it's me thinking here, please. Okay? That once you reach that level, you reach one of those milestones that allows you to have some kind of more complex interaction with spirituality. Because that's what the pineal is. But this is me saying, please, okay? And therefore you go on until you reach a level of having complex, continuous thought, Homo sapiens sapiens. When you don't have those continuous thoughts, you'll be like mammals, you keep some apes, parrots, you know, they're able to learn, some are able to teach. Chimpanzees are very good at teaching. There are some birds are very good at teaching, the young ones. So there is intelligence in there, right? But it is still, as we believe, a now fragmented reason. They cannot continue the fragment thought, I'm sorry. So you can say that they reason because their thought's fragmented. So you can see that there is a huge gray line, not only, and it is impossible to imagine have a complete separation between one and another.
I watched a long time ago on one of those channels, Discovery, National Geographic. It was a sanctuary for elephants. And a lot of them was orphans, and one of them was a young, was not a big, but it was a young elephant and no trunk. And then another one came to help him to get the leaves from the tree. So what was that? Who taught them that he needs to help the other one? Because otherwise he will starve, because he cannot get, he doesn't have the trunk to grab the leaves. Who taught him that? That was amazing.
And that's a very complex thought, because instinctively, the one who can get all the leaves will get all the leaves for him or herself.
Yeah, right?
Instinctively say, let me eat everything. It's his problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, who
Right.
taught him that? So he
But
was
there is a
grabbing the
degree-
leaves and giving to the other one.
There is a degree of intelligence, and
Yeah,
there is a degree of
Empathy.
moral that spirit mentioned over here. There is a moral aspect there.
because
Let me think also the guy, the guy's gonna die because he can reach those leaves.
Yeah, it's a rudimentary empathy, right?
yes,
Absolutely.
Because how can one elephant help another, right? And you see that in many animals, right?
And if one could argue the opposite, say, oh no, that's because they are social animals and they know that they need one another to form a large group to be stronger. That's a way of thinking it also, right? So there is no moral qualities in that. You take your point, you take whatever you believe.
Again, it's open to more study and more scientific investigation. And that's what we need. But you know, it is a clear case that deserves to be analyzed, right? Okay,
Number 75,
that's the last one.
is it correct to say that instinctive faculties taper as intellectual faculties develop? No. Instinct always exists, but humans dismiss it. Instinct, like reason, may lead us in the right direction. It always guides us, and sometimes even more surely than reason. It never goes astray. Why is reason not always a foolproof guide? It would be if it were not corrupted by poor education, pride, and selfishness. Instinct does not reason. Reason provides freedom of choice and gives individuals free will. Instinct is a primary form of intelligence, differing from intelligence in that it is often spontaneous, while intelligence is the result of planning and deliberate action. Instinct can manifest itself very differently between species based on their needs. In beings that possess self-consciousness and the perception of things outside themselves, it is associated with intelligence, i.e., freedom of action and will.
That,
Um,
I think, I believe that's very, these two last paragraph, I think it makes them things very clear, don't you think?
Yes, this is from Kardec. The last two paragraphs is from Kardec, and it's really, again, Kardec was a scholar, so he had the ability to put in words a very reasonable and intelligent explanation, right? But to start here, the spirits, Kardec asked the spirits if it's correct to say that as our intelligence develops, our instincts start to diminish. And the answer from the spirits is no. Instinct always exists, but humans dismiss it. And that instinct, like reason, may lead us in the right direction, and it always guides us. Again, let's talk about our physical body getting hungry, right? It's instinctive, right? Our physical body needs food, and when it's lacking, it gets hungry. We can use intelligence to try to avoid eating because we want to get thinner, or eat too much because we fall into our inferior tendencies of gluttony, of self-pleasure, right? Or stress, other reasons. But again, this instinct is the basis, and then the intelligence is what complements it. And then the question why reason is not a foolproof guide, again, the spirit says, answer here very well, if they were not corrupted by poor education, pride, and selfishness. And I was thinking here, when we talk about the notion of divinity, right? The idea of God, it is present in all civilizations. You get one civilization that never spoke to another 1,000 years ago, and they both had the notion of a supreme being or some supreme beings, gods or God, right? Why do they have that? It's instinctive in all of us, the notion of the divinity. So what makes a lot of people nowadays do not believe in that? It's not instinct, it's reason, right? They reason that there must, with everything that happens around us, it makes no sense that there is a God that would allow these things to happen. That's the reason we hear many times. But again, reason, using intelligence instinctively, we all believe in God, but reason is what makes us question the existence of God. Another example, communications with the spiritual world. Everywhere you go, in the ancient civilizations, there is communication with the spirits, right? The ancient Egyptians, right? They buried the pharaohs with a lot of things because they thought about the spirits, or they're reincarnating, or they're reincarnating. And the concept of reincarnation, they didn't have the word, but it was a concept of they're coming back to life. You find in the Vedas communication with the dead. You find in the Chinese, in the Mayas, Aztecs, praise to the gods or to the spirits and communication with the spirits. So why wouldn't we believe in communication with the spirits nowadays? It's reason, right? It's reason prevailing over instinct. Because in our primitive stages of evolution, when we were simpler, we accepted and believed in the communication with spirits. When we evolved, we start questioning it, and now there's a lot of people in the world that do not believe in the communication of spirits, but it's not instinctive, it's reason. And one other thing that it's the opposite. When reason says one thing and intelligence should tell you to do the other, right? Is when you face a bear, right? Your instinct tells you to run away, but actually if you run away, the bear will catch you. So if you stay quiet and complete without moving, there is more chance that the bear will not attack you, right? So reason over instinct. Our instinct is to run away. So again, it's to give an example that we can not always blindly trust our instincts, because sometimes our instinct, which is not yet improved to the best of its abilities combined with intelligence, may guide us in the wrong direction. Okay.
Another example is if a frying pan is catching fire, don't toss water on it. It's another thing that the first thing is, what we're gonna use to extinguish the fire? Water.
Yeah.
Don't do this in our frying pan.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So you see, again, we need to combine, right, instinct and intelligence, and it is actually two very important components of ourselves as eternal spirits, and we continue developing. Of course, we continue developing instinct, right? Everything evolves, everything progresses. So the same way that we are developing our intelligence, the instinct is being also developed. So once we educate ourselves to instinctive, not run away from bears next time we find a bear, it's the instinct, that the learned instinct will make us stay put instead of running away. But we need to educate our instinct. So instinct can also be educated. Okay. All right. We're done with this. Any final questions about intelligent or instinct? Now, again, the Spirits book is divided in 4 books. Yes, Paco?
Yeah, we can say then that intelligence at its bare level is basically instinct.
Yeah.
And then as the instinct expands and grows, it morphs into intelligence.
Yes, but still existing, right?
No, they coexist. Instinct stays there.
Coexisting, yes.
Instinctual drive stays there. But out of that basic cell of instinctual drive starts growing another layers, it's like a circle that expands and expands and expands. And the outer layers, it's basically intelligence. But you will always keep that instinctual base.
Yes.
Okay, I could picture it graphically like that.
The way I see is that intelligence, reason, trumps instinct. So for as long we are not able to reason, to use our intelligence properly, when you see a bear, we run, instinct. When you gain the ability to use the intelligence to reason, then you're gonna trump the instinct and we're gonna do what is the correct thing to do, lay down in a fetal position, whatever they teach. No, if you wanna go to the woods, they're gonna teach you what to do. So the way I see is that we always going to have instinct. The same way that you're always gonna have in our body the attribute of aggregation, separation that you learn again, the structure in the middle phase yet. It's accumulative. Things are accumulate one on top of the other. Once you get to the level of have reasoning, the instinct is still there, but intelligence overpowers it. Now I'm not gonna run anymore because you got reasoning, I use my intelligence, and I had learned, you need intelligence to learn that running is a mistake. And then you act in accordance to intelligence, not in accordance to instinct. And you increase your probability of survival.
But again, you can educate your instinct, right? If you do it 100 times, you don't need to think. It's not in. It's the educated instinct.
The intelligence kicks in immediately.
Yeah.
Right. If you live in Alaska and you do it bad 4 times a day, it becomes natural.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Which is educating your instinct, right?
Yes.
Which it's you can talk a lot more about us making things become a part of who we are is actually a form of educating the instinct, right?
Yeah, we can say that. Yeah.
We can say that. It's not we get stuck in words here, right? Because
the way I see is that intelligence and reasoning overpower instinct. Right now, you can make a mistake.
yeah,
That's the thing. This thing usually doesn't really make a mistake. It's a mistake to run away from a bear. Yes, I understand. But the mistakes most of the time is because of misuse of the intelligence. And that's what this person
yeah, exactly. But if you think, and we're going to extend here because I'm not going to 10 minutes left. I'm not going to start the book 2. It's a whole new, different chapter, right? For someone that wants to help and assist the needy ones, let's say the homeless on the street. First, you are going to force yourself to go towards them. Once it becomes part of you, you see a homeless, you go towards the homeless to help, you say that is an educated instinct, right? Because it became an educated instinct to help. It's not something that you think anymore.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Yeah. And in order to do that, you're going to have to overcome, by using reason and intelligence, a few of instincts. Oh, why should I give my $5 for this person? I'm going to hold on to $5. Instinctively led you to hold your belongs to yourself, instinctively. Then it's reason and intelligence, the moral that Kardec still says over here. They'll say, no, I can't spare this $5. I can get this $5 later. Right? If you're gonna deal with homeland on the streets, you're gonna deal with bad smell. Instinctively, it's gonna be repulsive. Oh, it smells hot. What am I gonna get? You know what this is. Intelligence, moral, and association moral values is that allow you to overpower that instinctive to walk away from foul smell. Instinctively, you're all gonna walk away from one smell or foul smell.
Yeah.
Foul smell is a predictor of disease of things. So instinctively, you walk away from things that smell bad. If you're going to help a homeless that smells bad, you're gonna have to bypass that instinct by using intelligence. And if you do that repeated times, then you do it normally. You don't even make a face anymore. The first time, you say, "Oh my God, it's horrible." It's but I'll do it anyway. You do repeat the time, you do it without any doing. No, you do like Mother Teresa.
Yeah. Out of love.
It's just gonna take a few incarnations for it.
Yeah. So I think we got a good view on it. We are going to go back to it very much later in the book when we talk about the three kingdoms. But for the moment, that's it. Then again, the Spirits book is divided in 4 books. And book 2, which is the longer part of the Spirits book, it's called the Spirit World, that has 11 chapters, talks about the spirits. And again, it goes in a, as Kardec always does, in a very logical way. So we have first definition of what are spirits, right? Then you have the incarnation of spirits, chapter 2. Then what happens after these spirits, the physical body dies? Return to the spirit world from the physical life. But going back and forth creates the concept of multiple lives, which is chapter 4, reincarnation. Then on chapter 5, it's a long dissertation on considerations of multiple lives that Kardec talks, discusses it, the concept of reincarnation and multiple lives and everything. And then, okay, on chapter 3, we return to the spiritual world. So, spirit life on chapter 6. We're going to discuss what we do when we are back in the spiritual world. Then, on chapter 7, when we are going to a new reincarnation, return to the physical life. Then on chapter 8, emancipation of the soul, and we're going to talk about the concepts of the spirit detaching from its physical body during the life of the physical body, dreams, trance states, and things like that. And then on chapter 9, intervention of spirits in the physical world. If we are able to emancipate our soul, we are able to enter into connection with the spirits in the spiritual world. If we can enter into connection with them, they can connect with us also when we are incarnated. That's the intervention of spirits. But what they're doing there besides interfering with us? So we are going to study in the chapter 10, spirit occupations and missions. And finally on chapter 11, the three kingdoms that I just mentioned here, that we're going to go back to intelligence and instinct a little bit, but it's what we have here on Earth. It's different from the previous 10, because the previous 10 deals with spirits, incarnated, discarnated, here, there, coming back, going there, what we do there, what we do here, what can we do there, what can we do here. And then the three kingdoms talks about us in the here on Earth. So this is book 2. We're going to start on chapter 1 next week, when we are going to talk about spirits, the origin and nature of spirits, the normal primitive world, the form and ubiquity of spirits, the perispirit. If we all know about the perispirit, and actually on Sunday we discussed the perispirit a lot on the study of the Medium's book. But if you are new to Spiritism and you started studying Spiritism, it's only when you get there that you first have the notion of what's perispirit and what is its function and how it's formed. And then you have the different orders of spirits, the spirit hierarchy, the progress of spirits, and finally, angels and demons according to Spiritism. So these are the 8 items that we're going to study in chapter 1 next week, okay? This Saturday, we have a very interesting lecture by Humberto Schubert, who is a philosopher in Brazil. He's the grandson of Sueli Caldas Schubert, a very renowned spiritist writer that discarnated a couple of years ago. He's going to talk about the future of religion. And again, it's a philosophical discussion on the future of religion, because Humberto Schubert specializes on philosophy. That's his area of study. The United States Spiritist Federation just recently launched a study guide called Introduction to Mediumship, a study guide for beginners. You can enroll and watch the classes. They are pre-recorded classes, like the Introduction into Spiritism that they launched a couple of years ago. This is the second series of lectures, and it is Introduction to Mediumship. If anyone is interested in going from the beginning to the end, it's based on the book Mediumship by Terezinha Oliveira, that can be purchased here at the center or can be purchased through the United States Spiritist Federation. Okay. This Sunday is the 4th Sunday of the month. So we are going to be having our Q&A session, and please show up with your questions and let's have a good discussion on Spiritism, okay? The book club comes back next week. This week, Daniela was out, comes back next week. We are finishing the book Ill-Fated Diamonds, and by the end of April, they are going to start discussing a great Spiritist book, one of the most important Spiritist books, called Paul and Stephen the Story of the Apostle Paul and his journey through his physical life here on earth, as dictated by Emmanuel through the medium Francisco Xavier. Okay? We're going to stop here now. Carol, can you do our final prayer?
Yes, certainly, John. Thank you very much, John. Thank you, Elmo, and thank you, Philip, for reading today. Infinite Creator and Supreme Intelligence, we give thanks for the opportunity again to be together as brothers and sisters for our study of the Spirit's book. The study that we are having now is Chapter 4, Vital Principle. The theme is Intelligence and Instinct. Intelligence is the potential of learning and of storing instructions. Humans have gone through the phases of the mineral, plant, and animal kingdoms as part of our evolutionary development. As humans, we have reasoning, free will, we make choices, but we may also use our instincts. We continue to educate our instincts as well as our intellectual pursuits. Sometimes these actions can be blended. We give thanks to the spiritual benefactors and the good spirits for guiding and inspiring us this evening. May we receive the love, light, and peace of Christ within us for our loved ones, our teachers, our directors, the counselors, the mediums, the workers, the healers, and all who have joined and are participating. We pray for inner peace, and we especially pray now for world peace and for those who are suffering in the physical and spiritual worlds. We pray for our center, SGNY, and all Spiritist centers throughout the world, that they may continue to grow, expand, to bring more people into this endeavor and to be protected day and night. As we close, we humbly ask for safety and protection as we return to our family, friends, loved ones, and coworkers. May we go forth and remind ourselves to be beacons of love, of light, of peace, of service, and charity, which is love in action.